welcome back. My name is Anna, aka Brookwillow, and today I'm going to show and try on everything I knit in 2023. It was a great year for knitting. I feel like I knit a very good variety between types of garments and shawls and socks and hats, all ranging with different techniques, whether from texture or color work. And I also think I knit a good amount of items given that I have a lot of other fiber crafts going on in my life as well, like sewing, weaving, and spinning. I still managed to prioritize knitting first. So I do have quite a bit of things to show you. And my plan is to go in chronological order from the first finished object of 2023 all the way until the last finished object of 2023, which does happen to be something that I have not shown on YouTube yet. So stick here until the end and you'll see what that new object is. My first two finished objects of 2023 happen to be both winter hats. And to address the elephant in the room, yes, I did chop quite a bit of length off of my hair. I just felt like having a fresh new start for 2024. And I didn't really consider how hair this short may look in beanies. So we are going to try it on together and see how that is. So this first hat here is the Carlo hat by Paula Strickt, and I used my first hand spun, I believe, on the spinning wheel that I got a couple years ago to make this hat. Jury's out whether or not I like it with my very short haircut, but one thing I do like is the added length in the ear flaps here, and I can also tie it because now that I don't have as much hair to keep this general region warm, I'll take whatever I can get with these long ear flaps here. I love this hat because, as you can see, it's cream and it goes with just about everything. So if I just need to throw on something super quick on an extra cold day, this is definitely a great hat to do so. And I remember I got a ton of use with this last year after I made it. And now, like, we've been having some pretty mild weather here in Wisconsin this winter season. So I haven't needed anything like this quite yet, but the temperatures are finally starting to drop. So I do see myself getting a little bit more use out of this hat. Next up is the Manhattan Hat Bulky by Tori Knits NYC, and this one I have gotten a ton of use out of, especially last season and now into this year as well. I do like the way this looks with my hair a bit better, thank God, because I loved this pattern so much that I made it twice, and I'll show you the other one a little bit later in the video. But I am just in love with this color green. This is definitely a green that I have been loving. I've been buying other things in this shade of green, like water bottles, totes, all sorts of things. I have been wearing it a lot and I feel like it goes really nice with any outfit. It really freshens up the whole look of it. Like, just take this gray turtleneck, for example. It felt very dark when I didn't have a hat on or anything like that, but this just kind of freshens and springs up the look a little bit more. I really like this one. It, as you can imagine, it's super warm because it is very bulky and very big. Sometimes I feel like I have a little bit of a mushroom head when I wear it, but I love it. I used Camellia Fiber Co. yarn to make this hat. And I think it was like their merino bulky yarn or something like that. I can't quite remember the color, and I'm not going to go too in depth with the yarn that I use for everything because I have talked about all of these items in the past. So if you are interested in more details, just take a look at the videos previously. Next up is a pair of socks. It is the DRK Bear Paw Socks by Andrea Mowry, and I was very shocked to see when I kind of put everything together that I only knit 3 pairs of socks this last year, which is wild to me because I feel like I've definitely knit more in the past. I love knitting socks. I love wearing hand knit socks. So I think going into 2024, I'm going to try to make it a goal to knit more socks. But these are probably in my top 2 favorite socks, hand knit socks that I own. There's something just very comforting and cozy about these. I don't know if it's because they're just a bulkier weight. They are like a DK weight yarn because I'm holding 2 strands of fingering together. And not only do they knit up quick, but again, they are just very cozy to put on. I have been machine washing these, so washer and dryer, with no shrinkage or issues like that. I will say I did knit another version of these socks in 2022 and put those in the washer and dryer, and those did shrink. So I definitely have to be a little more conscious of what type of yarn I'm using and whether or not I can be putting it in the washer or dryer. Thankfully, the socks that I shrunk, I'm gonna give to my niece and they'll fit her great. They're still in nice condition. They're just a little bit smaller. I love these. I do really want to make another pair of these. It's a really fun way to incorporate 2 strands of yarn, especially if you have a lot of sock yarn in stash and you don't really know what to do with it all. This is a way to use up more than one at a time. In the month of March, I finally finished my first garment, and that is the Weekender Light by Andrea Mowry. This was a spin it to knit it make along that she was hosting for 2022 into 2023, and yeah, I finished it in March. I started spinning for it, I think like in September of 2022, and I was able to get all the yarn spun up to have it knit up by March. And yeah, I really like this sweater. I think the fit of it is fantastic. I feel really comfortable and great in it. But I'm not gonna lie, it is a very, very itchy sweater. And I think it's because of how I spun the yarn. So it's very toothy yarn. I remember I did a blend of alpaca and some color changing merino yarn. And I don't know if it's the alpaca that makes it itchy or the merino. Looking at the halo of it, I kind of think it is the alpaca because that's what has all the little fibers tickling your skin, making it super itchy. So I only really wear this when I'm layering a turtleneck underneath, and that resolves any issue I have with the itchiness of it. So I'll go ahead and try it on for you. Here it is on. A couple design features with this particular sweater. As you can see, there is a boat style neck, which doesn't bother me. I know it bothers some people, but this neckline doesn't really bother me, surprisingly. And then we have kind of like the saddle shoulder down the side, and then a drop sleeve. As you can see here, the sleeves are 3/4 length, and that wasn't a design choice. I was just going to run out of yarn, and I didn't really want to source down the fiber because the alpaca fiber I got was farm fiber that I couldn't remember the vendor because I got it at like a fiber festival. And I think the color changing yarn was sold out from that company. So it was gonna be a little complicated. So my solution was to make 3/4 length sleeves, and it doesn't bother me, especially because I'm always wearing a long sleeve shirt under this sweater, and that just kind of creates the long sleeve effect. And you can see here, there is a lot of positive ease in it. It's a very boxy shaped sweater, which is a shape that I personally really like to wear. I have a pretty straight line body, and then at my hips that kind of goes out a little bit, but overall I do like wearing a boxy oversized fit. I have been wearing this a lot, especially with layering something underneath. It is so warm. I work at my family's business, and in our back office we don't really have a lot of heat, so it gets super cold in there. And on the extra cold days here, this is the sweater that I'm reaching for to keep me warm. I don't know, I think it's the alpaca that makes it extra warm in it, maybe because there's just more air in the fiber, but yeah, very warm sweater and I love it. Next up is another pair of socks, and there wasn't any pattern that I really used for it. I remember when making these, I realized I had never made like a vanilla pair of socks. So I did use the Curio sock pattern by Andrea Mowry as like a guide for the count of how much to cast on and all of that, but then I just freehand the rest of the design portion of it. One thing that I do really like about these socks is the little band at the top here of the forest green, just like a tiny little stripe at the top, I think gives it a cool, clean look to the socks. These have held up okay. I won't be surprised by the end of next year if they have fallen apart a little bit, but I do plan on mending them as they kind of wear away, because you put so much work into socks and it's like, I don't want to just get rid of them. I want to keep wearing them, and I think mending looks really cool. So that is my plan when these do wear out a little bit. I think the color of the yarn for the main portion I used is getting a tiny bit dingy with wear, which is a bummer. There definitely was a bit more color to it to begin with, but again, it's on my feet and I only really see a little bit of the top here, so it's not a huge deal. But I do also wish that I knit the kind of leg portion taller, probably to about here, because these have stretched out a little bit and they fall down my feet and it bothers me, and I like to have quite a bit of sock up to like my mid calf. So if I were to do this again, I definitely would knit the leg a bit longer. By the end of March, I was able to complete another garment, and that is the texture vest by Helga Isager. And this was part of a knit along or make along that I was hosting with Juanita from Woolly Bean Podcast called the Vest Friends Make Along. And I was looking through my closet and reorganizing my closet, and after putting together some mood boards and whatnot, I realized that I needed some layering pieces to get like a second or third layer to whatever outfit I was trying to achieve, and it was something that I was lacking, so that's why I created the whole make along to make a vest, and this is what I knit for it. And I have gotten so much wear out of this. I love the texture look of it, and the yarn is so soft. It's not itchy at all. I think I also used Camellia Fiber Co. for this particular garment, and I'm very pleased with how it turns out. And I feel like this is a piece that looks good in my closet year round, because the type of clothing that I crave different seasons is obviously going to be a little bit different. Like fall and spring are going to be quite different in terms of the colors that I want in my wardrobe, and obviously in the summer I'm going to want more sleeveless items, which I still can wear with this with like a little t-shirt underneath. So yeah, this has stayed in my closet the whole time and I've gotten a lot of use out of it, so I'm going to go ahead and try it on. Now, I rarely ever wear this completely buttoned up. I usually like to wear the vest open, showing whatever I have on underneath, but for the sake of the video, I wanted to button up to show anyone how the fit would be if you were to button it all up. One thing that I said I was going to do with this that I still have not done is potentially change out the buttons on it, because my friend told me that they look like pretzels, and ever since she said that, I can't unsee the pretzels on this. And I don't know, it's just not really the look that I'm going for with it. I think one way that I could really elevate this vest is to use more of a tapered button, and I want like a really, really dark, like mahogany, almost black wood for that. So that is still something that I should probably like actually do, and I think I would love this piece even more. Here it is opened up, and this is definitely the way that I would wear it a lot more realistically. Next up is one of the most wearable pieces that I made last year, and I've got to say I really like it with this charcoal turtleneck layered underneath. It kind of brings out the zipper color. But anyways, this is the Lanark Sweater by Rebecca Clow of the Crayabea. And I was lucky enough to be one of the test knitters for this sweater. I remember I unfortunately did not finish it in time because I ran out of yarn, and Pearl Soho was sold out of the yarn, and so I had to wait like a month and a half to get the yarn back in, but I did finally finish it and still was able to get a lot of wear out of it. I think one of my favorite things about this sweater is the color that I chose for it. It's just sunny and bright, and I always crave pastel colors right after the new year going into summer, and this was no exception. Like I mentioned, it's super wearable. It's not itchy at all. I used Pearl Soho good wool, which is great because I don't normally layer anything underneath it. It's very nice next to skin. The fit is awesome. I think I knit like a size 5 in this, and it does have some positive ease at the bottom. The arms are like a little bit more fit, but not too tight or anything. And of course, the coolest feature of this sweater is the zipper in the front. It was the first time I incorporated a zipper into any kind of knitting before. It's a lot easier than you would think it would be. So if you're considering knitting this or any other type of knit with a zipper in it, do not be scared of it. It's not so bad. This is definitely a garment that I would knit again, maybe in like an entirely different color, like a darker color or something, just to give it a whole different look. But it is such a classic piece that I wouldn't mind having more than one of them in my closet. This next sweater was the last one that I made in the winter spring season of 2023, and it is the Flower Power Pullover by DEGEN. This is easily the sweater that I get the most compliments on out in the world because it's more of a statement sweater, and I love it for it. It's like a statement, but still easy to wear every single day. Not every day, but like wear often. And it's these floral motifs that make it super cool. Not only is it on the front, but it's on the sleeve, on the side, as well as the back. And I feel like this is a type of sweater that really lets you know it's high end or it's not from like a fast fashion brand, because oftentimes when stores are selling sweaters with motifs on it, they usually just keep it on the front. They don't repeat it on the back, probably for cost saving reasons. But yeah, this kind of gives away that it is handmade or high end, and I love it for it. Also, the yarn is not itchy at all, which is a plus, so I don't have to wear anything underneath it. And I have been trying to get away from French tucking into the front of my pants. It's a style that I have just been doing for the past like 10 years, I want to say, and I'm just ready to kind of move on from that styling. And so I'm trying to wear things over my jeans. I don't know if you can see. And this was the first sweater that made it easy to do so, because the pattern just goes all the way down and the oversized fit of it just lays perfectly. So this was the sweater that kind of was the catalyst to get me out of that type of styling, and another reason why I love it. This garment right here is the first summery piece that I made for the year, and the reason why I use air quotes is because it's made out of a cashmere merino blend. And I intentionally chose this because I remember the Black Friday previously, I was shopping with my sister and we went to a little store in town and they had a tank top just like this made out of cashmere, and it was for like $120 or something like that. And I was like, I can make that, and I'm actually going to make that. So yeah, I spent $90 on yarn. I didn't save a ton of money, but I sure had a lot of joy making it, because not only was it just like a nice, easy knit, kind of a good break from the more detailed knits that I had been doing, but working with cashmere yarn is a pleasure for the hands because it's just so soft. And I really enjoyed the color of this piece. This is a color that I definitely don't have at all in my closet, and I love this like periwinkle lavendery look of it. I forgot to mention this is the June top by Petite Knit. I wanted a tank top that I could layer underneath things like blazers or little jackets or whatever that would still keep me warm when it's a little bit colder out. And that's what I got from this. So I'll go ahead and try this on. This is definitely not how I would style this particular piece, but it's cold out and I'm gonna keep the turtleneck on. It fits really nice. I had made this top one time before, and I remember when I made it the other time, I made the armholes way too short. So I was very conscious of making this a second time and making the armholes deep enough so it wasn't like chopping off my armpits. But yeah, I like the color of this. It feels really nice on my body. There is like a tiny bit of pilling on the sides, probably from my arms swinging past it, but nothing a little glean can't take care of. And one thing I do really like about this simple silhouette is how the back scoops down a little bit further than the front. I think it's a nice little design feature. But still really loving this color. Again, it's satisfying that pastel need that I have when the new year hits. So I'm sure I'll be wearing this a lot this winter and spring. Up next is the first shawl I have ever knit, and this is the Sotabosc shawl by Xolla wool. I was gifted this yarn by a viewer, like it was a whole cone of yarn, and immediately I'm like, I need to make a textured shawl for this. And that's what I made. I had purchased Lina's 52 Weeks of Shawls book, and after like maybe a couple months of not actually knitting anything from it, I finally decided to knit a shawl from it, and I love it. It's a very cool shape. It's asymmetrical. Let me kind of pull it up here like that, and it is all over cabling from end to end, and it took me forever to make this. I remember I started it in September of 2022 and I finished this in June of 2023. I didn't really finish it a good time of year where I could wear it because obviously June gets pretty warm and I don't really want to wear a wool shawl when it's warm. But this time of year it is fantastic, and I just feel like a cool artsy person when I wear it. If that makes any sense. I usually just wrap it completely around my body like this. The nice thing about this shawl, well, there's two sizes that you can make for it, and I made the larger size, and it's long enough where I don't have to tie it or anything to keep it on me. It just stays put all day, and this is exactly how I would wear this shawl, just turtleneck underneath and a pair of jeans and good to go. And I love it. I wear this to work all the time, and it's a really fun way of getting away with essentially wearing a blanket to work. And it feels like a sweater. It's just like a cool take on a sweater. It's not your conventional sleeves that just stay on. It's just, I love it. What a fun way to wear wool. And I definitely plan to make more shawls in the future. I actually am knitting a shawl right now that I'll show in my next podcast. It's really cool. You're gonna like it. And I can't wait to wear it, and I can't wait to knit more shawls because I'm in that point in my life where I'm gonna knit shawls and wear them everywhere. This next garment pains me a lot, and I try not to think about it because it is my one fail of 2023. However, I do have a solution for it that I still need to do. And that is the Yoko top by Knitting for Olive. If you've been around this past year, you may already know my woes with this. It was fun and unique construction. You knit this top sideways, and let me actually untie it. So it's a classic wrap style top, and yeah, so you start from one end and knit, and then the other end, and you meet in the back and Kitchener stitch together. A few things went wrong with it. Let's start with the Kitchener stitch on the back. The way that the directions were written, it shows that the Kitchener stitch is on the outside, and I don't like this. I wanted it to be seamless, as you can see on the inside, but I was already halfway through the whole thing. I don't even know if it was Kitchener stitch. Is it like a three bind off? I don't know. I can't remember. Didn't love that, but the main issue with this garment was the fit. So I'm gonna go ahead and try it on so I can show you. So upon first glance, you may be wondering, what is the issue? Well, the issue is, first of all, I'm wearing a turtleneck underneath it, so it is holding up the front pieces very well, but I made this to be a summer garment, so I'm not gonna wear a turtleneck underneath, and that means these front pieces slip down like this, and I am not the type of person who wants to be fidgeting with my clothes all day long, so I do not want to keep doing this all day long, pulling up these front pieces. Now, a lot of you gave me so many amazing ideas on ways to like fix this issue, and the one that I ended up deciding I was going to do is to insert some elastic at the two pieces to cinch it up how I want it to be, but it allows me to still like kind of stretch it out if needed, like putting it on and off, I guess. But yeah, I'm gonna put elastic in it so it just like tightens up these pieces, because the straps are already really tight. I can't shorten the straps anymore. It's more the issue of it just opening up like this, not the straps at the top. So yeah, I'm gonna do the elastic like that. I already bought the elastic last summer after I dealt with this whole thing, and then I just kind of put this aside and didn't want to think about it anymore. But enough time has passed where I am going to finally insert that elastic in. Probably not right away, but I want to do it so I have a summer to wear it, because it feels really nice. I made this out of Knitting for Olive's pure silk, and what a lovely like natural fiber to wear. I can already tell like I'm not gonna get too hot wearing this fabric, and of course it's not itchy either, so really nice to wear in the summer. And I do want to wear it because I like the look of a wrap top. I just don't want, you know, that to happen. The other thing that I didn't love, that I didn't consider, and this is more of a me thing than the pattern, is the fact that there's a double layer in the front, so it adds all the bulk in the front and none in the back, but that's something I'm just gonna have to get over. This was a fail, but it's gonna get better. Thankfully, the next garment I knit after that last one was a success, and probably one of my favorite pieces that I made this whole year. This is the Florence Tank by Sari Nordland, and I had been in a big mood to knit some lace, and I also had been wanting to knit a garment by Sari Nordland for a very long time, and I hadn't yet, so I thought this was like a perfect opportunity to do that. It definitely was a bit challenging, I remember, especially where the decreases are happening while trying to maintain that lace pattern. It was a challenge for sure, and then I kept like messing up one side, like one front kept being longer than the other, and I remember I had to rip back quite a bit and reknit it, and it was very frustrating in the moment, but it was so worth it in the end because I am obsessed with this garment. One of my favorite things about it too is I crocheted the buttons on it instead of adding just like wood or plastic buttons. I love just the way it kind of blends in with the rest of the garment, and it allows the lace to really shine in it. So I'll try it on for you. I apologize if it's getting a little lost with the turtleneck I'm wearing because the colors are a little bit similar, but this is the Deep Petroleum Blue colorway from Knitting for Olive's Pure Silk. So last summer I was in a huge silk mood. I wanted to knit everything in silk, and I have 3 garments knit in silk, and it was really nice to work with it. Love this color. I thought it was like a very unique color. It's kind of like an oily color. I don't know, like a deep ocean blue. I'm just rambling. But I really like how high up the fronts come here, so I get full coverage, which is really nice because I can wear like a full bra with this. I don't have to figure that whole situation out. And the straps are thick enough too to hide any bra straps. It also comes up high in the back too. So again, if you're just having a day or you need to wear like a full coverage bra, this is an excellent tank top to wear it with. And yes, the lace is a bit see-through on it. So I think I usually was wearing like a little cami underneath, so it wasn't like completely see-through in like a black or something. But yeah, I really like this one, and I'm excited to wear it next summer, and I'll have the whole summer to wear it instead of the very end of it. My next finished object was the last pair of socks that I knit in 2023, and these are the Berries and Bird Tracks by Yucca Takahashi. And this is from Lina's 52 Weeks of Socks. I remember these took me months to knit. I think I started it in the spring of 2023 and didn't finish it until like August or September. And it wasn't until I went on a road trip with one of my best friends this summer that I got a lot of work done with this, thankfully. And I'm so happy I finished these because I wear these all the freaking time. So much so that it has even felted already in the heels just from wear and not from wash. And I don't mind that because I think it just gives it more strength in the heels, so I don't have to worry about it so much. But there is a little bit of weird pilling slash felting happening in a shade darker than the actual yarn, but again, it's the heels. I don't really care about it. But this one is an all over lace stitch pattern. I'm gonna pop a picture in so you can see a better picture of it because you can't really tell from here. But like I said, I wear these all the time. I feel so happy and fancy when I put them on, and the color is excellent. This shade of kind of grassy green just goes with everything in my closet. So it's one of those socks that I can just pull out and I know it's gonna match pretty much anything that I'm wearing. The next project of 2023 is one that I had been dreaming about for a very long time, and that is the Nightshift shawl by Andrea Mowry. I remember the first time I saw this years and years ago. I wanted to knit it, and I put together a cart full of spin cycle yarn, and it ended up being like $250, and I just couldn't really justify that. So I bought a spinning wheel for more than $250, and I ended up spinning my own yarn. Yes, it was more expensive in the beginning to buy a spinning wheel than just to buy the finished yarn, but that wheel has taken me into a whole new world of wonderful spinning and was totally worth it, and it's definitely paid for itself by now. But anyways, I used Hello Yarn's yarn subscription, and every month they send you a new colorway, and I spun it up, and that's what I used to make this shawl. Now, sadly, I don't really reach for this shawl as much as I thought I was going to be, and that is definitely because of the size of it. I was given advice by Casey from Young Folk Knits to add more panels to it if I could, but I did end up running out of yarn regardless. I couldn't spin up more because the yarn is used multiple times throughout the project, so it would have been weird if I just had a random chunk of different yarn at the very end. I'm still gonna try this on. I absolutely love the colors in this, especially during the fall time, but unlike the last shawl that I showed you, these ends just aren't quite long enough to realistically stay put for all day long. So I need to get creative about how to secure it. Like maybe I just need to tie it up on my shoulder or something like that. I don't know. I don't really like the way that is. Or maybe now is the time to explore some cool shawl pins so I can just like pin it. I think that's probably the way to go. I'm gonna look at some shawl pins because again, this thing just kind of falls over. I know I could wear it just like this, which I don't mind the way it looks in the front, but I don't know if I like the point in the back when I do this. I don't know. It almost looks like too much like a blanket if I wear it this way. So I have to play around with it some more, but I am a little bummed. So if you are making this, take my advice, take Casey's advice, plan your yarn out a little better than I did to be able to add more repeats to this shawl. And maybe it'll fit you a little bit better than it does me. I mentioned at the beginning that you would be seeing the Manhattan hat bulky again, and here it is. This was the first fall hat that I made in 2023, and this was a color that I was just dying to make this season. This dark burgundy color, I was seeing it in a lot of accessories, and I needed one for myself, and so I made it, and I love it. I used Blue Sky's Woolfolk North, which is their bulky weight line, and yeah, it was the perfect color that I was going for. With my short hair, I feel like I look a little bit like a gnome, especially because it's a little pointy on top, but hopefully I'm a cute gnome. I do love this. It is such a warm, squishy hat, and I just feel so cozy when I wear this, especially on extra cold days. There's nothing like wearing just like a big, chunky, soft hat. I love it. This next garment is my most worn garment in 2023, which is kind of crazy because I didn't finish making this until October. And this is the Riblace Raglan by James & Watts. I had made this garment once before. I was a test knitter for it, but I made a short sleeve version. And there were a couple of fit things that I wanted to change making it a second time, and I kept that in mind. So I lengthened the body and I went with the long sleeve option, and I sized up a little bit, and it was the perfect decisions to make because I absolutely love this. And I ended up using a silk yarn to make this, and I'm really happy that I did that because especially with it being a lace pattern, I feel like there is a lot more definition in the lace work of it, where I think if I had made it out of wool in a long sleeve, it would have bloomed too much, hiding a lot of that lace work. So I'm gonna try this on for you. I do wear this a lot with a turtleneck because it's completely see-through and I like having the little layer on top, but I normally wear it with a white one that I have. But maybe this gray one will be nice because you'll see a little bit more of the lace work with it. Here it is. I love it. Like I said, I added a little length in the body. It was intended to be more of a crop, but now it's like a long crop. And again, it like helps me not feel like I need to French tuck. It lands at a nice point where it shows off the part of jeans that I do like to show off. And I decided in the pattern, it has you do a little decrease for the sleeves to taper a little bit more towards the wrist, but I really like this bell sleeve shape to it. Gives it kind of a 70s vibe, but I think it's like nice proportionately with having like kind of a tighter ish, or I guess a straight fit body, and then flare out at the end. It just gives a fun little shape to the garment. But yeah, I've worn this a ton. This is kind of like my I do not know what to wear today top that I know I can always put on, and it's just gonna look cute with like any type of bottom that I have. So happy with this. I'm probably not gonna make it again because I made it twice now already, so I think I got it out of my system, but I really recommend this, especially in a silk yarn. I think it's just really beautiful. The last sweater that I made in 2023 is the Tessellated sweater by Andrea Mowry. And the moment I saw this pattern, I was like, yep, I am making that. I'm not going to be left out of the fun. It did take a very long time to make though, because when you're doing mosaic knitting, you're slip stitching, it's condensing the fabric, so it takes like twice as long to knit everything. And there were times where I definitely was like, okay, I just want to be done with this. But now that it's done and I have a sweater to wear, it's totally worth it. And I was able to wear it for all of the holidays this year. So here it is on. Now this sweater is worked from the bottom up. And with that being said, it's really hard to determine how the fit's going to be as you're knitting it. Now I know that I could be a little bit better about measuring from like my armpit down on how long I want something to be. All this being said, I do wish I knit it maybe like an inch longer. It's just like a hair too short, so I kind of have to wear something underneath. I wouldn't really wear jeans and like nothing because it'll show my midriff, and it's not that I don't want to show my stomach, it's just in the winter I don't want the air touching it because it's just cold. At first I thought I wanted to size up after it was all done because I'm just so used to my garments being quite oversized, but I kind of want to explore some not quite negative ease garments, but like zero ease. So just, you know, it's not tight, it's not oversized, it just fits just right. And this size is right. Again, I think I could have just knit the body a little bit longer, but maybe I was just ready to be done with it too. But I've heard other people say they wish they knit theirs a tiny bit longer as well. I love the way this looks though. I had been wanting something that was kind of a foresty pine green, and that is the main color in this entire sweater. I have some hand spun knit throughout and then some mohair, or was it Surrey silk alpaca knit through it. But overall, I really like it. I've been wearing it a lot this holiday season, like I mentioned, and it's not itchy, which is also a plus, so I could wear it all day with no issue, and it's nice and warm. This accessory here is one that I have worn a lot more than I thought I was going to. And it's the Everyday Cowl by Andrea Mowry using all hand spun. I used 2 different skeins, creating a very subtle striping effect to it. The reason I say I wore this more than I thought is because I originally was just going to wear it as an outdoor accessory, but I found that it doesn't make me too hot to wear inside. So I've been wearing it a lot to work, or I even hosted a brunch for my birthday last week and wore this inside all day, and I absolutely love it. There are so many subtle colors going on that it works great with so many things in my closet because I can pull out all the different colors with whatever I'm wearing, and I love it. It just adds a fun little splash of knitwear to whatever I happen to be wearing. And I do have plans to make this again in some other hand spun that I have, but a solid version with no color changing or anything like that. So I'm excited to get working on that as well. Hopefully this spring so I can still wear it a little bit, but love this pattern. It was super fun to knit up, very easy to kind of memorize. You don't have to stare at the pattern the whole time as you're knitting it, so it's just very pleasant to work on. Up next is not a garment, not an accessory, but a home accessory, and it's the first home accessory I think I've ever knit. And this is kind of a hodgepodge of all different things that I had going on here. The main house motif on the front is from the Safe at Home blanket pattern by Margarette Holzmann, and I added a border around it, a I-cord around the edge, and then on the back I just knit plain garter with all of the leftover yarn that I had from this advent that I got from the year prior. And I'm obsessed with this pillow. Originally I knit this to be like a Christmas decor item, just with a lot of fun colors in the houses I was seeing and a lot of Christmas decor, but I did not put this away when I put away the rest of my Christmas decor, and it still fits right in my living room here. I just think it adds a fun little pop of color and interest to the room, and I have it sitting on my grandma's old rocking chair, and yeah, it just fits perfectly there, and I think it's so cool. It makes me so happy every time I walk into the room. I definitely want to knit more pillow covers in the future because it's just really fun and cool to have a handmade pillow. My last finished object is one that you haven't seen on YouTube yet, but if you follow me on Instagram, you have, and that is the Snora Beret by Gudrun Johnston from the Shetland Trader Book 3. And this is part of the Pom Pom Love Make Along that Maggie from Sonder Yarn Knitting Podcast on YouTube is hosting, just to give a lovely farewell to Pom Pom Publishing. And yeah, I had been wanting to make a beret for a while, and I really was craving some color work and the color pink, so I combined all of that into this one beret. Thankfully, I think it works well with my short hair because it's a new piece and I want to wear it a lot. I think I'm just gonna have to rock the berets a little bit more this year because that seems to work very well with the short hair. But yeah, I've worn berets a lot in the past, so not so much recently, so I'm trying to like figure out how to style it a bit more, but I do love it. It's such a cool little statement piece, especially if I'm wearing just a plain outfit. This just kind of spices it up and gives it just that interesting little piece to add to it. So if you have been wanting to knit a beret, I really recommend this. The color work was super easy. I ended up knitting this in just like a couple days. I almost like blacked out, like I don't really remember even knitting this. Not that I was like under the influence of anything, but just because I knit it so fast and it just kind of breezed on by. So nice to have a quick little accessory when I'm in the mood for it. So that is just about everything that I knit in 2023. I didn't include a couple gifted items because I obviously don't have them here to show you. I think thinking of 2024, I'm not gonna try to like set any specific goals for myself because I really like to intuitively cast on for whatever mood I'm in. I don't know what mood I'm gonna be in like March or June or October of next year, but there are a couple things that I do kind of want to focus on generally. Now, the first thing being, if you take a look at this, you see a lot of dark colors and like browns and grays and whatnot, and I really want to explore bringing in more color into my wardrobe. You may remember last year I did the whole color theory and I analyzed my features and whatnot and determined that I'm a soft summer, which is a lot of the pastels that I tend to crave this time of year, and I really want to lean into that more. I know that I don't need to follow that exactly. I can make whatever I want in whatever colors I want, but they are colors that I do really like. So I'm going to be a little bit more intentional about bringing in brighter, springier colors into my wardrobe. Kind of like this yellow here and the periwinkle here. I want a little more of that for my closet. It really makes me happy seeing those colors. And I just want to add a little bit more color into the world. I feel like we're living in times where everyone's painting their houses white and inside everything is just neutral colors, which is fine. It's a really nice aesthetic, but it also is just literally eliminating color from the world, and I want to bring a little bit back into the world because we need a little bit of color. I also want to focus more on just figuring out what my personal style is and not trying to chase the trends. And my style has, gone through a lot of changes throughout my entire life, and that is very normal, but I want to like focus more on that and not like what is in style, because I feel like nowadays, especially, these trends are only lasting 2 weeks, and we are part of slow fashion, not fast fashion. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that in 2024, I'm going to continue to just find what is right for me and my style and not what is right for large corporations. I'm gonna end it here, though. My battery is dying and I'm very hungry. But I am just so excited for 2024, and I sure hope you are as well. I have a feeling it's going to be a great year of making for all of us. If you love what you see here and you aren't already subscribed, please consider subscribing and you won't miss out on what I make this coming year. And if you like what you see, please hit the thumbs up. That really does help my channel out a lot. In the meantime, I hope you are having a lovely start to your week, and we will we'll chat next time. Bye.